6 months into the BRINKS investigation, the police were offered the chance to recover half of the stolen gold. The offer came from Michael McAvoy, who had got 25 years for the BRINKS robbery, and who was looking now to trade his share of the bullion for a reduction in his sentence. Roy Ram from Scotland Yard was asked to examine this seductive proposal.
We were thinking about, is this the right thing to do? Is this morally the right thing to do? And we were absolutely convinced that it was right to take this huge chunk of criminal money out of circulation. It was discussed at the highest levels in the yard, it was discussed with the law officers, and we were sure that it was right to try and recover the money.
McAvoy's ability to control the destiny of the gold was taken seriously by the police. What they didn't know, however, was that the man McAvoy had entrusted to look after the gold had started developing extravagant plans of his own. That man was Brian Perry.
Right, yeah, you got it sorted yet? No, there's no net there, pal. It's an open yard.
Perry was an old mate of McAvoy's, who'd spent the 70s making money from taxi cabs and prostitutes.
He didn't ever quite like to admit that the prostitutes were prostitutes. I think he used a euphemism for them, escort girls or whatever he would have called them. But there was no confusion as to what he was referring to. He was an impressive man. I would say he was quite a gentleman villain. He was professional to his fingertips. He was shrewd, but a very good sense of humour, a gallows sense of humour.
Hello, Kathy, you all right, babe?
What is that?
Well, it's just a little joke, isn't it?
What?
Watching Perry on behalf of McAvoy was McAvoy's mistress, Kathy Meacock.
At Mickey's expense?
No, not at Mickey's expense. It's just a little bit of fun, babe. Do you want me to take it down?
It's Mickey's gold, Brian. You're just looking after it.
Perry, though, was doing more than just looking after it. It was his unseen hand behind the operation of the gold chain. From his cab office in South London, Perry was overseeing the movement west of each consignment of 11 gold bars.
Yeah, John, it's Gareth. Yeah, another team's arrived.
Darth Chappell's task was to change the BRINKS gold beyond recognition. In the space of 6 months, 2 tons was resmelted by Chappell's company Scadlins, where it was mixed with copper and scrap jewellery. From here, the gold was about to re-enter the market, and no one had to suspect it had once been part of Britain's biggest robbery. The port of entry was Sheffield, and it was to the assay office there, one of the 4 houses licensed by government to register gold, that the crude smelt was taken.
It was very crudely melted indeed, and there were times when we asked Scadlin, because we were normally doing the melting, saying, why can't we do the melting for you, because you know you're making such a bad job of it. But they said no, that the melting was being done by them. I began to think that the raw material was fine gold, because on one occasion they sent in an amount of gold that was gold that had adhered to a melting pot that had not been mixed in correctly. We nicknamed it the skull because it looked like a skull, and we melted it and and carried out analysis, and it was virtually fine gold. Well, we thought it was very strange. We did think things, but customers registering with us, it's completely confidential. And everything that comes through us is confidential, and as such, nothing was said about it.
Once it had the official stamp of the assay office, the gold could be sold on to legitimate dealers. Each time bullion traders bought a batch of Scadlin gold, a little bit more of BRINKS disappeared forever. As it did so, Scadlin's current account was credited with hundreds of thousands of pounds a day, transferred there by the companies who'd bought the gold. Among them, ironically, Johnson Matthey, the original owners. The man supervising this amazing account at the Bedminster branch of Barclays was Angus Leng.
In the early days, the cash went in small amounts
went out in cardboard boxes, and even on an occasion or two, a polythene bag.
See? Told you I'd ditch the Ben liner.
At the height of their operations, Scadlins were withdrawing nearly £1 million a day in cash, sums that required the Bedminster branch to appeal to the Bank of England for help.
I used to agree on a daily basis with the directors how much money they were going to withdraw. This enabled me, because we didn't have that sort of cash in stock, this enabled me to order the cash from the bank's cash centre, have it delivered to the branch, and then subsequently representatives of the company would come in and collect it.
They did have their concerns about the Scadlin account. Throughout the second half of 1984, its managers sent up warning flares to each other, but that was all.
In those days, you couldn't disclose to the authorities, to the police, any details of a customer's account. The only time one could do that was under the order of the court or by the signed authority of the customer, and we certainly had neither of those.
In total, Garth Chappell's company withdrew £11 million in cash. His part of the deal was to take the £1.2 million in VAT. The rest, the pure profit from the BRINKS matte gold, was now passed back down the line. First it went to Kenny Noy, who skimmed off his share for strengthening the links in the gold chain. The bulk went to Brian Perry. Perry's problem now was how to hide such an enormous amount of cash. To help solve it, he linked up with a property developer called Gordon Parry and a solicitor, Michael Relton. In the summer of 1984, all three headed for Switzerland and started opening up a maze of high interest bearing accounts in Zurich and Liechtenstein. These were secret accounts to be referred to in all future correspondence by their code names only. The code name chosen by Perry was
Como. I don't even like that bastard.
Between August 1984 and January 1985, £7 million was banked by Brian Perry and his friends. Due to Swiss banking laws, it was a laundering operation that was both fantastically profitable and, once up and running, almost criminally easy to maintain, even from London.
You have somebody unknown going into the Bishopsgate branch of the Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank one fine day in summer 1984 and producing over £500,000 in a suitcase and saying, please send this to Switzerland to such and such a numbered account. Sorry, can't stay, got to go. And he goes. He didn't leave a name, a number, nothing. He just comes in with the cash and it's sent off to Switzerland.
Scotland Yard didn't have a clue about what was happening in Switzerland. But by the end of January 1985, they'd built up a detailed picture of the furtive activity around Kenny Noy's house. The question was, should they move in straight away and make arrests, or wait until an even fuller picture emerged?
The top-level decision was to take the bullion out of circulation so that it couldn't finance further serious crime. We were concerned that the longer it stayed out there, the more robberies, the more drug importation, the more importations of weapons, the more crime it could finance.
It caused a certain rift between officers of my rank and my team, because we were firmly of the opinion that we wanted to run this for some weeks and get the whole gang as opposed to one piece of it.
The decision to make instant arrests won the day. The aim now was to observe Noy in his own living room, actually handling the gold. Neil Murphy was assigned to the task.
We normally work, when we did the rolls jobs, you always work in two-man teams. But two would go in and two would stay out.
On January the 26th, Murphy was sent into the grounds of Hollywood Cottage with his partner John Fordham.
Car turns up, we've only been half an hour, car goes in.
Check, Cavalier on driveway. Moving to forward position.
Made our way right up quite close to the house, just about getting to the area where we want to be. Probably wanted to be a little bit closer. Certainly about as far as you can see here. We were up there and in the woods. And the dogs started to bark.
Keep those dogs quiet.
So I moved away quite calmly. There's no panic. There's no people coming or anything like that. And I made my way to the edge of the property, got myself onto the wall, and I could hear voices then and see torchlights through the woods.
Man compromising John with stick or shotgun. All flying squad vehicles, stand by.
And then all hell broke loose then.
Get hold of him! What are you doing here? Get down! Get him down! Get down! Who takes you? Oh, yeah! I can't wait, kid! Come on!